What's up, YouTube? This is Arnell with the All for Love channel, and we're back where we just talk about my previous dance experiences while I was in SoCal, and then get some constructive criticism from someone who's known me in the dance scene for a while, so that they can like kind of give me some critiques, tell me what they liked, what they didn't like, because I'm very hard on myself. So we're just gonna have some fun with it and watch a couple of videos. My first guest is Angela Pak, and we actually directed together for our college dance team in Davis called Agape. So if you ever want to check us out, check out the YouTube. It was like 2012 to like 2015 was like the golden years. So go ahead and check that out if you feel like it. But without further ado, Angela and I are going to watch a couple of videos on the Instagram. Follow that, by the way, if you haven't already. Let's get into it and go from there. All right, so now we have the video pulled up. And just to give you guys a little background information on the piece, the choreographer is Mitch Villareal. I apologize if I butchered your last name, Mitch.
Maybe Real?
Villareal. I honestly don't know. I just know I just call him Mitch. but anyways, like this is like maybe the second. I think this is the second time I ever took a class from Mitch, because the first class was like maybe 4 years ago in Sacramento. And his story was a lot different back then to this piece right here, because in this piece, it's very slow and emotional, where he wants you to like sit in the movement more. And so you give off more like expression, I guess, like in the movement. Whereas before, what was popular about 4 years ago was like lines. Like, so if you watch like The Company or like pretty much any Asian dance group 4 years ago was all about lines. And that's kind of like what he did back then. But again, this piece right here is a dark contrast to that. And I actually really liked it. It's been a while since I've watched these videos myself, so I forgot how well I did. I just know that this first one we're about to watch is the select group. So it was me and two other people who, in my opinion, did a little bit better than me. But that's because I ended up being center, and I usually overthink when I'm in center, so I mess up. But we'll see how that went. Are you ready, Angela?
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
I want you to be around for this year, next year, every year. You've been here for every tip. Even though I'm holding my own, I had you on ice like the snow and it's gone. Look, you should slide my way, easy on the brakes, like ice, never catch me slipping back. I fly the extraordinary stay in the A in LA, but that's not speeding on down the play.
That iconic dab at the end. I do that a lot. Okay, so that was better than I thought, but we'll save the comments for after we watch the second clip, because in the second clip, I personally thought I did better in this clip, because this was like the full group, so there's like 7 people, and I ended up being in the back, so I felt less pressure, even though I shouldn't have felt any pressure at all in the previous one. But anyway, let's watch this one really quick, and then Angela and I are going to talk about the dance.
I want you to be around for this year, next year, every year. You've been here for every tip. You complete me even though I'm holding my own. I had you on ice like the snow and it's gone. Look, you should slide my way, easy on the brakes, like ice, never catch me slipping back. I fly the extraordinary stay in the A in LA, but that's not speeding on down the plane. We can get away. Down PCA, like it's back in the day. Now the record on replay, I'm by the side. 2 lows in a Bentley, cool. I'm trying to show, but I can stay high. I'm feeling I can 1, 2, step into the game. I'm getting no sitting next to you.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure I dabbed to get out of there too. Okay, so we just watched both videos, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so we can talk about it and see each other better. So off rip, I'm gonna say right now that I personally thought I did better in the second one, and that's just because, like I mentioned earlier, I felt less pressure, or I put less pressure on myself because I was dancing with more people and I was in the back. And how I usually define it is like by mistakes because it's a workshop. So I really just try to test my pickup, and I just simply made less mistakes in the second one because I don't know if it's harder to see in the first video because the other two dancers are kind of cut off, but you can kind of catch when I'm early
Yeah.
in like comparison to like that. And that was largely because I was just overthinking. And I was just like, oh crap. Let's
I
just
could definitely
yeah.
feel the nervous tension in the first one. Like you
Yeah.
you felt more you seemed more nervous in the first video and more relaxed.
Oh yeah.
Or more confident, I guess, in the latter one for sure.
Yeah, no, those things kind of go hand in hand for me. Like when I feel less pressure and I'm more relaxed, I generally am more confident. And a lot of that does have to do with just being in the back. When I'm in the back, I just feel like no one's watching me, so it doesn't matter.
Mm.
When in reality, that's the case. Like even if you're in front, because it's a workshop, like not an audition or anything. But
Yeah.
I just have that like mental thing where I'm just like, oh my god, everyone's watching me, which doesn't make any sense. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there can relate to that. But
Yeah.
so it's like a mental block that I'm working on. But in terms of like movement, did you like see a difference in like either performance or like anything?
Your movements were a lot smaller in the first one. That's
I would agree with that too.
that's what I noticed right off the bat. Like you know when dancers are not confident, right? They don't do full extensions. Their limbs stay here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's because of that I could tell that like you weren't confident and that you were nervous because your limbs are here. And in the second one, your limbs are more out. So
Yeah.
like yeah, there
Like
was a contrast with those.
no,
Yeah.
I agree. Like even in the second one, I feel like I could have extended more on certain
Yeah.
movements,
Yeah.
but it was but in the first one though, it was like really obvious that I was being more cautious
Yeah.
versus like experimenting with the movement stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually something that he wanted us to do in the workshop. But
The dance style is overall very like smooth, like kind of like a milky kind of style. But I feel
mhm.
like that was a style that you really struggled with 2 or 3 years ago. You are used to dancing with a lot of power, right?
That's
And
true.
then
Yeah.
yeah, and then so even when you did like nice and milky, like flowy pieces, it always came out kind of like like how do you explain it? Like it came out kind of like
It was still more aggressive than it should be,
yeah,
kind of.
more aggressive. It's not like stiff, but kind of stiff.
Fun fact: we were on Chapkis together a couple years ago. Like even back then when we were on Chapkis, like the style then was like really fast and like hard hitting. So
Yeah.
whenever we had to slow things down, I did struggle with that a lot. I would say a lot of people probably think when something's slower, it means it's easier, but that's not the case at all because
No.
you can see more mistakes like easier, like when things are slowed down.
And I feel
And
like
like
with slower pieces, you need more body control, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, like something that's been pointed out to me, like even still, is because since I started dancing quote unquote late, like I still have to like learn my body and understand it while I'm dancing. Because
Mm-hmm.
even like in these clips, like I can see that in the moment, like I don't notice it because I think that my arms are in an okay position or whatever. But when I watch it, it's like, yeah, like I don't know what I'm doing with my arms most of the time. Mainly because if it's not choreographed, then I don't know where to put my arms.
Yes, and that's why it's so important to watch your dancing
Yeah,
because you don't know
yeah.
in the moment, but you only realize it after you watch a recording of yourself.
Like I watch the choreographer and then I try to mimic what they're doing. So in my head, I think I'm doing what they're doing, but
Mm.
in all actuality, since I don't understand my body to its fullest yet and where I'm putting placement, like I should be using the mirror as reference so I can fix that. but I don't do that often enough in class because I'm so focused on just like getting the moves instead of perfecting it like during the class like myself.
It's so important to watch yourself dance because when you are looking at yourself in the mirror, you can see, oh, my arm is not parallel to the floor. Like I need to make it lower. And then you have to drill that so that when you like do it without looking, or when you do it without looking, you can feel like your body can kind of memorize the angle that your arm should be in. And also like that's why drilling is so important, so that it's not for your brain to know, it's for your body to know. Like it's very like muscle memory, I guess. So like the more that you do a certain move, the more that your body is like used to it.
But when you're actually taking class and you can't take like in the middle of the class like 20 minutes like that's like to yourself to like figure out something. But when you've taken class, like because even back then, like when we danced in college and stuff like that, or even on Chapkis, like when you eventually learned how to balance, like you utilizing the mirrors and utilizing like the teacher to like figure things out. But cool, like I kind of got nothing else to say at the moment, and so I guess like we'll wrap up this version of I don't know what to call this series yet. We'll see what I put in the title. But I guess this is it for this video with Angela. You may see her again in another one. She may come back on the channel. Thanks again, Angela, for like coming
No problem.
and doing this with me. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.